Most people do not lose because they lack intelligence. They lose because they reveal too much, trust too quickly, react too openly, and mistake good intentions for strategy. Machiavelli understood that the world rarely rewards the person who sees only what is said. It rewards the person who notices what is hidden, measures motives before words, and stays calm while others expose themselves. These 8 brutal laws are not about becoming cruel. They are about becoming difficult to deceive, impossible to control, and precise in the way you think and move. You will learn how to read power, protect your position, recognize weakness, and make decisions without being blinded by ego. Each law will sharpen the next. If this is the kind of clarity you value, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. You are ready to see what others ignore each day. Section 1. Guard your intentions. The first brutal law is simple. Never give people a complete map of your mind. The moment others know exactly what you want, what you fear, and what you plan to do next, they gain the ability to predict you. Predictability gives comfort to your enemies and leverage to your rivals. Intelligence is not only the ability to think clearly, it is also the discipline to decide what deserves to be seen. Machiavelli understood that power often belongs to the person who reveals the least while observing the most. You do not need to lie or become cold. You need to stop confusing honesty with total exposure. Before we go deeper, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and tell us in the comments which country you are watching from. It is a simple way to join a community that values clear thinking, strategic discipline, and the courage to see human behavior without illusions. Most people announce their intentions too early. They describe the business they want to build before securing the resources. They reveal the promotion they want before understanding who else is competing for it. They confess weaknesses to people who have not earned their trust. Then they are surprised when support becomes interference, curiosity becomes gossip, and advice becomes sabotage disguised as concern. The mistake is not ambition. The mistake is exposing ambition before it has protection. A smarter person separates private intention from public action. Private intention is the full truth of what you are building. Public action is only what others need to know at that moment. This distinction gives you room to think, adjust, and move without unnecessary resistance. When every idea is announced, every change looks like inconsistency. When the plan remains private, adaptation looks like precision. Silence also protects you from premature judgment. People often react not to what your plan is, but to what they imagine it might become. They project fear, envy, insecurity, and limited experience onto your unfinished idea. When you expose a plan before it has evidence, you force it to survive opinions before it has strength. A weak plan may need criticism. A young plan needs time. This does not mean hiding everything from everyone. Total secrecy creates isolation, and isolation creates blind spots. The law is not to trust nobody. The law is to make trust specific. One person may deserve access to your financial concerns, but not your family conflicts. Another may understand your creative goals, but not your negotiation strategy. Mature trust is not a wide open door. It is a series of carefully chosen rooms. The same principle applies in conversation. People reveal themselves through their need to fill silence. They speak to appear impressive, intelligent, connected, or important. In doing so, they expose priorities, resentments, alliances, and insecurities. The disciplined person does not compete to speak first. He listens for what people repeat, what they avoid, and what changes when status enters the room. Speak to create clarity, not to relieve tension. Many damaging statements are made because someone feels uncomfortable with silence. People over-explain decisions, apologize for reasonable boundaries, reveal uncertainty during negotiations, or volunteer information nobody requested. The result is a weaker position created by their own mouth. Consider a negotiation. The inexperienced person quickly explains how badly he needs the deal. He gives reasons, deadlines, personal circumstances, and emotional context. He believes transparency will create sympathy. Sometimes it does. More often, it gives the other side a complete picture of his pressure. Once your urgency is visible, your options appear smaller. Once your options appear smaller, your price falls. The intelligent approach is not deception. It is controlled disclosure. State what is relevant. Ask questions before giving answers. Learn the other person's priorities before exposing your own. Let them explain what matters to them, where they are flexible, and what they fear losing. Information has value, and anyone who gives it away without purpose begins every negotiation in debt. Guarding your intentions also protects your reputation. People judge unfinished thoughts as if they were final positions. A private doubt becomes a public weakness. A temporary frustration becomes a permanent label. A passing idea becomes a promise. The more people know about your internal process, the more material they have to misinterpret. This is why composed people often appear more intelligent than reactive people. They do not necessarily know more. They simply release less unprocessed thought. They allow emotion to become information before it becomes speech. Anger tells them a boundary was crossed. Fear tells them something feels uncertain. Envy points toward an unexamined desire. But they do not hand these raw signals to everyone in the room. Your face, tone, and timing also reveal intention. A rushed reply can expose fear. Excessive enthusiasm can expose dependence. An immediate refusal can expose insecurity. Strategic restraint means giving yourself time before responding when the stakes are high. A calm pause is not weakness. It is the space where impulse loses control and judgment takes command. People cannot easily obstruct what they cannot clearly see. Many ambitions fail because they attract opposition before gaining momentum. The person seeking approval announces every move. The person seeking results builds quietly until the work becomes difficult to dismiss. However, secrecy without action is only fantasy. Guarding your intentions has value only when silence is used to prepare, not to hide from responsibility. The goal is not to appear mysterious. The goal is to reduce noise, protect concentration, and reveal results when they are strong enough to speak for themselves. You become smarter than those around you when you stop treating every thought as public property. Keep your long-term aims private until disclosure creates an advantage. Share weakness only with people who have proved they can hold it without using it. In negotiation, collect information before offering it. In conflict, control your first reaction. In ambition, let evidence arrive before applause. The world studies what you reveal. Make sure what it sees is chosen, measured, and useful. A person who cannot control his own exposure will eventually be controlled by someone who understands it better. Section 2. Read motives, not words. The second brutal law is this: never judge people only by what they say. Words are often designed to create an impression, protect an image, or guide your attention away from the real objective. Motives reveal far more than promises. A person may speak about loyalty while protecting personal advantage. Someone may offer help because they want access, influence, or future repayment. Machiavelli understood that intelligence begins when you stop asking only, "What did they say?" and start asking, "What do they gain if I believe them?" This does not make you cynical. It makes you harder to mislead. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. You are not just supporting a video. You are joining people who value discipline, clear judgment, and the ability to recognize what others fail to notice. Most people listen for meaning. Strategic people listen for incentive. Meaning explains the sentence. Incentive explains why the sentence was spoken. The difference is enormous. A compliment may be sincere, but it may also be an attempt to lower your defenses. Criticism may be useful, but it may also be a disguised effort to reduce your confidence. Advice may be generous, but it may also direct you toward a choice that benefits the advisor. The smartest person in the room is rarely the one who remembers every word. It is the one who understands the structure behind the conversation. Who has something to gain? Who has something to lose? Who wants the decision made quickly? Who benefits from confusion? Who suddenly becomes friendly when your position improves? These questions expose the hidden architecture of human behavior. Actions remain the strongest evidence. Anyone can promise consistency when nothing has been tested. Anyone can speak about courage before risk appears. Anyone can claim loyalty while loyalty is convenient. Character becomes visible when the person must pay a price for what they claim to value. Watch what people do when keeping their word costs them time, status, money, comfort, or opportunity. Repeated behavior matters more than isolated behavior. One mistake may come from stress. One generous act may come from genuine kindness. But patterns reveal priorities. If someone repeatedly disappears when responsibility arrives, their explanations become less important. If they consistently support you in private, but undermine you in public, their private warmth should not distract you from their public choices. Do not become obsessed with discovering secret plots. Most hidden motives are ordinary. People want approval, safety, control, access, comfort, recognition, and advantage. They often do not fully understand their own motives. This is why direct questions may not produce direct truth. A person can honestly believe they are helping you, while unconsciously protecting their own position. Observe what changes their behavior. Notice how they act around power, weakness, competition, and opportunity. Some people are respectful only toward those above them. Others are generous only when generosity can be witnessed. Some support your ambition until your progress threatens their identity. Their reaction to your growth may reveal more than years of conversation. Timing is another signal. Why is this person telling you this now? Information rarely arrives without context. Praise before a request may be preparation. Urgency during a negotiation may be pressure. Sudden concern after your success may be an attempt to regain influence. A warning delivered too late may be less about protecting you and more about creating proof that they warned you. Pay attention to selective honesty. Skilled people rarely lie about everything. They mix truth with omission. They tell you facts that are accurate but incomplete, allowing you to reach the conclusion they want without directly forcing it. This is more effective than a simple lie because you feel responsible for the conclusion. When someone presents a story, look for what is missing. Which alternatives were not mentioned? Whose perspective is absent? What detail would change your interpretation if you knew it? Intelligent judgment depends not only on analyzing the information you receive, but also on noticing the information that was withheld. You must apply the same law to yourself. Your own motives can distort your judgment. When you want someone's approval, you may interpret politeness as loyalty. When you fear conflict, you may call avoidance wisdom. When you desire an opportunity, you may ignore evidence that would normally concern you. Self-deception is often more dangerous than deception from others because it uses your own hopes as camouflage. Before making an important decision, separate desire from evidence. Ask what you want to be true. Then examine whether the facts actually support it. The more emotionally attractive a conclusion feels, the more carefully it should be tested. Pleasure does not make something false, but desire can make weak evidence feel convincing. Do not confront every hidden motive you detect. Exposure is not always useful. Sometimes it is better to understand the game without announcing that you understand it. If a person believes their intention is invisible, they may continue revealing themselves. The moment you accuse them, they become cautious defensive, and harder to read. Use your knowledge to adjust access, not to create unnecessary drama. Share less with unreliable people. Reduce dependence on those who use favors as control. Keep important agreements clear and documented. Give responsibility in stages so trust can be tested through results. You do not need to call someone dishonest to stop giving them opportunities to harm you. This law also protects you from charm. Charm creates speed. It encourages trust before evidence has had time to develop. A charming person may be honorable, but charm itself is not proof of character. Enjoy the conversation, but let consistency decide the level of access. Real intelligence is not paranoid. It is patient. It does not assume everyone is dangerous, and it does not assume everyone is harmless. It allows people to reveal themselves through choices, patterns, timing, and sacrifice. Listen to words, but verify them through behavior. Notice incentives, but do not invent enemies. Study patterns, but leave room for change. The person who understands motives sees beyond appearances without becoming consumed by suspicion. That person is difficult to deceive because they do not reject trust. They simply require trust to earn its place. Section 3. Control your emotions. The third brutal law is this: the person who controls their emotions controls the situation. Most people believe intelligence is measured by how quickly someone responds, how confidently they speak, or how strongly they defend their position. But true strategic intelligence appears when pressure rises and emotions demand immediate action. Machiavelli recognized that a person who can be easily provoked can be easily directed. If someone can predict what makes you angry, afraid, desperate, or excited, they can influence your decisions before you even realize it. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this community grow and brings more content focused on strategy, wisdom, and understanding human behavior at a deeper level. Emotions are not weaknesses, they are signals. Anger can reveal that a boundary has been crossed. Fear can reveal a possible danger. Excitement can reveal an opportunity. The mistake is not having emotions. The mistake is allowing emotions to take control of decisions that require judgment. A person ruled by emotion becomes predictable. They respond instantly to criticism. They reveal frustration during negotiations. They make promises when excited and create conflicts when angry. Others do not need to defeat them directly because they defeat themselves through uncontrolled reactions. The strategic person creates distance between feeling and action. They allow the first emotional wave to pass before deciding what to do. This small moment of control creates a massive advantage. Most mistakes happen not because people lack knowledge, but because they act while their judgment is temporarily controlled by emotion. Imagine two people receiving the same insult. One immediately reacts, raises their voice, and tries to prove their worth. The other remains calm, studies the intention behind the insult, and chooses whether a response is even necessary. The second person is not weaker. They are operating from a position of control. They understand that every reaction has a cost. Not every battle deserves your energy. One of the greatest strategic mistakes is believing that every challenge requires a response. Some people provoke because they want your attention. Some criticize because they want you to defend yourself. Some create conflict because your emotional reaction gives them power. The moment you react exactly as expected, you surrender control of the situation. Silence can be a powerful response because it forces others to reveal more. When someone expects anger and receives calm, they lose their ability to guide the interaction. They may speak more, explain more, or expose their true intentions. Emotional discipline creates opportunities because people often reveal themselves when they cannot control your reaction. However, controlling emotions does not mean becoming emotionless. A person who suppresses everything eventually loses awareness of their own needs. The goal is not to remove emotion. The goal is to place emotion in its correct position. Emotions can advise you, but they should not command you. Fear is one of the most powerful examples. Fear can protect you from reckless decisions, but uncontrolled fear can keep you trapped. Many people avoid opportunities not because they are impossible, but because uncertainty creates discomfort. A strategic thinker acknowledges fear, analyzes the risk, and moves based on evidence rather than imagination. The same applies to confidence. Excessive confidence creates blind spots. A person who believes they cannot fail stops preparing. They ignore warnings because they assume their ability will overcome every obstacle. Confidence becomes dangerous when it prevents learning. The strongest people maintain enough confidence to act and enough humility to adapt. Anger also requires discipline. Anger often feels like strength because it creates energy, but uncontrolled anger gives information away. It shows what affects you, what you value, and where your weaknesses may exist. A calm person can understand anger without being controlled by it. They transform emotion into strategy. In conversations, emotional control changes the entire dynamic. If someone tries to pressure you into an immediate decision, remaining calm gives you time. If someone attempts to make you feel guilty, composure allows you to evaluate whether the guilt is deserved. If someone tries to make you defensive, patience prevents you from accepting a position you never needed to defend. The person who controls their emotions also controls their reputation. People remember how you behave under pressure. Anyone can appear confident when everything is easy. The real test is how someone behaves when criticized, challenged, ignored, or underestimated. This does not mean pretending everything is fine. Authenticity matters. The difference is between expressing emotions and being controlled by them. A leader can admit frustration without becoming destructive. A professional can disagree without becoming disrespectful. A strong person can acknowledge disappointment without allowing it to define their next move. Machiavellian thinking is often misunderstood as manipulation or cruelty. But one of its most practical lessons is self-mastery. Before influencing the outside world, you must first govern yourself. A person who cannot control their own reactions will struggle to control their own direction. Every day, people lose opportunities because they answer too quickly, trust temporary feelings, or allow others to choose their emotional state. They let a comment ruin their focus. They let rejection destroy their confidence. They let praise create false security. Their decisions become reactions instead of choices. The smarter path is simple but difficult. Pause before responding, observe before judging, and decide before acting. Your emotions are valuable information, but they should never become the person making your decisions. The person who masters their emotions becomes harder to manipulate, harder to intimidate, and more capable of seeing situations clearly. In a world where many people are controlled by their impulses, emotional discipline becomes one of the greatest forms of power. Section 4. Master strategic patience. The fourth brutal law is this: never rush what requires time. Impatient people often mistake speed for strength, but the ability to wait is one of the most underestimated forms of power. A person who cannot control their desire for immediate results becomes easy to predict, easy to pressure, and easy to defeat. Machiavelli understood that timing can determine whether an action creates success or creates destruction. The right decision at the wrong moment can fail, while the right moment can transform an ordinary decision into a powerful move. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this channel bring more content about strategy, wisdom, and the hidden principles that shape human decisions. The world often rewards visible action, but not all progress is loud. Some of the most important victories happen during periods where nothing appears to be happening. Behind the scenes, preparation is taking place. Information is being gathered, skills are being developed, relationships are being strengthened. The person who understands patience knows that invisible progress is still progress. Many people fail because they reveal their plans before they have enough strength to protect them. They want recognition before they have results. They want rewards before they have created value. They want the final chapter without accepting the discipline required to write the beginning. This impatience creates unnecessary pressure because they become focused on appearing successful instead of becoming successful. Strategic patience is not laziness. It is controlled movement. A patient person is not someone who avoids action. It is someone who understands that every action has a cost and every decision has a consequence. They do not move simply because they feel the need to move. They move when movement creates an advantage. Consider a chess player. A beginner focuses on the immediate opportunity to capture a piece. An expert considers what happens several moves later. The difference is not intelligence alone. It is the ability to delay immediate satisfaction for a greater outcome. Life operates the same way. A person who sacrifices short-term comfort for long-term advantage often achieves what impatient people never reach. Patience also protects you from emotional decisions. When people feel pressure, they often choose the fastest escape instead of the best solution. They accept poor opportunities because they fear waiting. They stay in harmful situations because they fear uncertainty. They make financial decisions based on urgency rather than strategy. Pressure creates the illusion that every decision must happen immediately. But many situations improve when given time. A conflict may reveal more information. A competitor may expose weaknesses. A market may change. A person's true character may become visible. Time is not always a delay. Sometimes time is the tool that reveals what you could not see before. A strategic thinker knows when to wait and when to act. Waiting forever is not wisdom. It is avoidance. The goal is not passive observation. The goal is calculated timing. You wait because you are collecting information, building resources, improving your position, or allowing conditions to become favorable. One of the strongest examples of patience appears in negotiations. An inexperienced person tries to convince others immediately. They explain too much, chase approval, and fear losing the opportunity. The experienced person understands that desperation weakens position. They allow space. They listen. They recognize that silence can create pressure without a single aggressive word. The person who needs the outcome the most often has the least control over the process. This is why emotional attachment can be dangerous. When you believe you cannot walk away, you surrender power before the negotiation even begins. Strategic patience creates options. Options create confidence. Patience also changes how you deal with people. Not everyone reveals their true nature immediately. Some people appear loyal when circumstances are easy, but disappear when challenges arrive. Some appear talented until responsibility increases. Some appear trustworthy until temptation appears. Time is one of the best tests of character because consistency is difficult to fake forever. However, patience should never become an excuse to tolerate disrespect or remain inactive. There is a difference between waiting for the right moment and waiting because you are afraid. The strategic person does not wait because they lack courage. They wait because they understand consequences. Another advantage of patience is that it allows your opponents to make mistakes. People who act from emotion often create their own problems. They speak too much, reveal their intentions, underestimate others, or make decisions without considering long-term consequences. A calm observer gains information while others lose control. This principle applies to personal growth as well. Many people compare their beginning to someone else's results. They become frustrated because they cannot see the years of preparation behind another person's success. They abandon their path because progress feels too slow. But meaningful achievements are usually built through repeated actions that appear insignificant in the moment. The patient person focuses on becoming dangerous through preparation rather than trying to look impressive through appearance. They understand that reputation built without ability eventually collapses. Real power comes when your skills, knowledge, and discipline are strong enough to support the image others see. Machiavelli's lesson is not that you should wait endlessly for opportunities to appear. It is that you should never allow impatience to make decisions for you. The world is full of people who destroy their own advantages because they cannot tolerate uncertainty for a little longer. The smartest people understand that timing is a weapon. They know when to speak and when silence is stronger. They know when to move and when preparation creates more value. They know that not every opportunity should be accepted immediately, and not every challenge should be answered instantly. The person who masters strategic patience gains something rare: control over time itself, while others rush, react, and reveal their desperation. The patient thinker observes, prepares, and chooses the moment when action has the greatest impact. Section 5. Understand the power of perception. The fifth brutal law is this: people do not respond only to reality. They respond to the way reality appears. Perception shapes decisions, relationships, opportunities, and influence. A person may have great ability, but if nobody recognizes that ability, their impact remains limited. A person may have limited ability, but if they create the appearance of competence, others may give them opportunities they have not earned. Machiavelli understood that perception is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior because people rarely have access to the complete truth. They judge based on what they can see. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this community grow and allows us to continue exploring the principles of strategy, psychology, and human behavior. Understanding perception does not mean becoming fake. It means understanding that communication is part of reality. The way you present your ideas, your work, and yourself influences how others interpret your value. Ignoring perception does not make you more authentic. It simply allows others to define the story about you without your participation. Many talented people struggle because they focus only on being capable while ignoring how their capabilities are perceived. They believe results should speak entirely for themselves. Sometimes they do, but in a world filled with competition, attention is limited. If your work is invisible, misunderstood, or poorly communicated, someone less capable but better positioned may receive the recognition. The strategic person understands that competence and presentation must work together. Your ability creates the foundation. Your reputation creates access. One without the other creates limitations. The goal is not to create a false image. The goal is to make sure the image others see reflects the value you actually provide. First impressions matter because humans naturally search for information quickly. Before someone understands your depth, they notice your confidence, preparation, communication, and consistency. This does not mean judging people based only on appearances is correct. It means recognizing that people often do it, whether we like it or not. A person who understands this principle uses it responsibly. They arrive prepared. They communicate clearly. They respect their appearance and environment. They understand that small details influence larger conclusions. A careless presentation can make people question a person's discipline. A thoughtful presentation can create trust before a deeper relationship develops. Perception also influences authority. People naturally look for signs of confidence and stability when deciding whom to trust. The person who constantly seeks approval communicates uncertainty. The person who understands their value without needing constant validation communicates strength. This does not mean arrogance. It means emotional independence. One of the biggest mistakes people make is explaining themselves too much. They believe that more explanation creates more understanding. But excessive explanation can sometimes create doubt. Confidence often appears through clarity and restraint. A person who understands their position does not need to convince everyone in the room. This principle becomes especially important during disagreement. When someone attacks your ideas, your first instinct may be to defend every detail. But strategic communication requires understanding the audience. Not every person is looking for truth. Some are looking for conflict. Some are protecting their own beliefs. Some simply want attention. Your response creates a perception of your character. A calm explanation shows control. An emotional reaction may shift attention away from the argument and toward your behavior. The strongest position is often maintained not by having the loudest voice, but by demonstrating the greatest stability. Perception also affects how people treat your time. If you are always available, always responding instantly, and always adjusting to others, people may unconsciously value your attention less. This is not because your time is actually less valuable. It is because behavior communicates standards. What you repeatedly allow becomes part of the expectation others create around you. Boundaries are a powerful form of communication. When you respect your own priorities, others learn to respect them as well. A person who protects their time, commitments, and principles creates an image of someone who operates with intention. This image influences how others approach them. However, perception without substance is dangerous. Creating an impressive appearance while lacking real ability creates temporary success, but long-term failure. Eventually, reality catches up. The strongest strategy is not pretending to be something you are not. It is developing real value and learning how to communicate that value effectively. Machiavelli's lesson about appearances is often misunderstood. He was not simply teaching people to deceive. He was teaching them that human beings make judgments based on limited information. If you ignore this reality, you allow circumstances and other people to control your reputation. A wise person manages perception because reputation is an asset. It opens doors before you enter the room. It influences whether people listen to your ideas. It determines whether opportunities reach you. A strong reputation is not built overnight. It is created through repeated actions that align with the identity you want others to recognize. The person who understands perception also understands that reputation must be protected. One careless action can create doubt that takes years to remove. This is why disciplined people think beyond the immediate moment. They understand that every interaction contributes to the story others create about them. The goal is not to impress everyone. That is impossible. The goal is to become clear, consistent, and respected by the people who matter. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every judgment deserves a response. Strategic thinkers focus their energy on building a reputation based on reality, not chasing approval from everyone. The world will always interpret what you show. Your responsibility is to make sure what you show represents your true strengths. Develop substance, communicate with purpose, protect your reputation. Understand that perception is not everything, but it influences almost everything. Those who master this law do not simply exist in the eyes of others. They understand how impressions are formed and use that knowledge to move through the world with greater awareness, confidence, and control. Section 6. Choose your allies carefully. The sixth brutal law is this: your environment shapes your destiny more than most people realize. The people you allow close to you influence your decisions, your standards, your confidence, and even the way you see the world. Machiavelli understood that power is never created in isolation. Behind every strong position, there are relationships, alliances, and networks of influence. But not every connection creates strength. Some connections quietly weaken you while appearing harmless. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this community grow and brings more content focused on strategy, wisdom, and understanding the principles behind human behavior. Many people choose allies based on comfort rather than compatibility. They surround themselves with people who agree with everything they say, people who make them feel accepted, and people who never challenge their perspective. While comfort has value, constant agreement can become a weakness. A person who never encounters honest criticism eventually loses the ability to recognize their own mistakes. The right allies are not simply people who support your goals. They are people who strengthen your ability to achieve them. They bring knowledge you do not have, perspectives you have not considered, and discipline that raises your own standards. A valuable ally does not always tell you what you want to hear. They tell you what you need to understand. Strategic people evaluate relationships through patterns, not promises. Anyone can claim loyalty when circumstances are easy. The true measure of an ally appears when pressure arrives. How do they behave when you succeed? How do they react when you disagree? Do they protect your reputation when you are absent? Do they respect your goals when your progress creates distance between you? The answers to these questions reveal more than words ever could. One of the greatest mistakes is keeping people close simply because of history. A long relationship does not automatically mean a healthy relationship. Some people remain connected to your past while having no place in your future. Loyalty is valuable, but loyalty without judgment can become a trap. Machiavellian thinking requires understanding that relationships have consequences. Every person around you influences the direction you move. The ambitious person surrounded by constant negativity will eventually fight against invisible resistance. The disciplined person surrounded by people who reject responsibility may slowly lower their own standards. This does not mean abandoning everyone who struggles or avoiding people who are different. It means understanding influence. Compassion and boundaries can exist together. You can respect someone without allowing their habits to control your life. You can care about someone without giving them unlimited access to your decisions. A strategic alliance is built on mutual value. The strongest relationships are not based on dependence. They are based on contribution. Both sides bring something meaningful to the table. One person may provide expertise, another may provide opportunities, another may provide perspective. The relationship becomes powerful because each person increases the capability of the other. However, alliances should not be confused with using people. Genuine strategy recognizes that trust is built through respect. Manipulation creates short-term advantages, but destroys long-term credibility. The most powerful connections are created when people choose to work together because cooperation benefits everyone involved. You should also pay attention to how people treat those who cannot benefit them. This reveals character. Someone who is respectful only toward powerful people is not demonstrating respect. They are demonstrating calculation. Watch how a person treats employees, strangers, and those from whom they cannot gain anything. These moments often reveal their true values. Another important principle is understanding different levels of access. Not everyone should have the same role in your life. Some people are excellent companions, but poor advisors. Some are talented professionally, but unreliable personally. Some can share opportunities, but cannot be trusted with sensitive information. Wisdom comes from placing people in the correct position instead of expecting everyone to fulfill every role. Many conflicts happen because people give someone responsibility they were never prepared to handle. A person who wants to become stronger must also become comfortable with distance. Sometimes growth requires stepping away from environments that no longer match your direction. This can feel difficult because humans naturally seek belonging. But staying connected to the wrong influences can cost far more than temporary discomfort. The people around you should challenge your weaknesses while respecting your identity. They should encourage growth without trying to control your path. They should celebrate your victories without turning your success into competition. Be careful with people who only support you when you remain smaller than them. Some individuals enjoy your potential until that potential becomes visible. Your growth becomes a reminder of their own choices, and instead of being inspired, they become threatened. A true ally is not intimidated by your progress. Strong leaders understand that alliances require maintenance. Trust must be earned repeatedly. Communication must remain clear. Expectations must be realistic. Even good relationships weaken when people stop investing attention and respect. The smartest individuals do not attempt to win every person. They focus on building the right circle. A small group of reliable, capable, and principled allies is more valuable than a large network built on shallow connections. Your future will be influenced by the conversations you have, the standards you accept, and the people whose opinions you allow to shape your thinking. Choose carefully because influence is often invisible. You may not notice when someone's mindset begins becoming your own. The final lesson is simple. Do not only ask whether someone likes you. Ask whether their presence makes you stronger, wiser, and more capable. The right allies multiply your strengths. The wrong allies quietly reduce them. A person who understands this law does not isolate themselves from the world. They move through the world with awareness, knowing that every relationship is a form of influence, and every alliance is a decision that shapes the person they become. Section 7. Turn knowledge into power. The seventh brutal law is this: information only becomes valuable when you know how to use it. Many people collect knowledge, but never transform it into advantage. They read books, watch videos, study successful people, and gather endless information. Yet their lives remain unchanged. The difference between ordinary knowledge and strategic knowledge is application. Machiavelli understood that understanding the world is only useful when it improves your decisions, strengthens your position, and allows you to act with greater precision. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this community grow and allows us to continue sharing ideas about strategy, discipline, and the principles that separate awareness from wisdom. Information itself is not power. Access to information is common today. Almost anyone can learn about business, psychology, communication, leadership, or history. The advantage belongs to the person who can identify what matters, ignore distractions, and convert knowledge into action. The average person consumes information for entertainment. The strategic person studies information for improvement. One person asks, "What can I learn?" The other asks, "How can I use this?" That small difference changes everything. Knowledge becomes powerful when it improves your ability to predict outcomes. If you understand human behavior, you can recognize patterns before they become obvious. If you understand markets, you can identify opportunities before they become popular. If you understand communication, you can influence decisions without forcing them. The smartest people are not always the ones who know the most facts. They are the ones who know which facts matter. Machiavellian thinking requires separating valuable information from useless noise. The modern world creates endless distractions. Opinions compete with evidence. Trends compete with timeless principles. Everyone wants your attention because attention creates influence. A strategic thinker protects their attention as carefully as their money. Every piece of information you consume should serve a purpose. Does it improve your skills? Does it help you understand people? Does it reveal opportunities? Does it prepare you for future decisions? If not, it may simply be creating the illusion of progress. One of the greatest traps is confusing learning with achievement. Some people spend years preparing, but avoid execution because learning feels safer than action. They constantly search for more information because they fear making mistakes. But knowledge without experience remains incomplete. Reality is the final teacher. You can study negotiation, but you become better by negotiating. You can study leadership, but you develop leadership by taking responsibility. You can study success, but you understand success by facing uncertainty. and making decisions. A strategic person uses knowledge as a weapon of preparation, not as a hiding place. Another important principle is understanding information asymmetry. Those who have better information often have better options. This is why powerful people ask questions before making decisions. They understand that every conversation is an opportunity to learn something others may overlook. A person who speaks constantly collects little information because they are focused on being heard. A person who listens carefully discovers opportunities because they are focused on understanding. Silence creates space for observation. In business, relationships, and negotiations, the person with more accurate information often has the advantage. Before entering any important situation, gather context. Understand the people involved. Know the possible outcomes. Study the environment. Preparation reduces uncertainty. However, information must be combined with judgment. Facts alone do not create wisdom. Two people can receive the same information and reach completely different conclusions because their ability to interpret it differs. Intelligence is not only collecting data, it is recognizing patterns and understanding consequences. This is why experience matters. Experience teaches what information cannot. It shows the difference between what sounds good and what actually works. It reveals human behavior under pressure. It teaches that every decision exists within a larger system of consequences. The strategic person also understands the value of keeping certain knowledge private. Information creates influence, but revealing everything removes your advantage. Just as you control your intentions, you must control valuable information. Not everyone needs access to every insight you possess. This does not mean hiding knowledge to create superiority. Sharing knowledge can build trust and leadership. The principle is understanding timing and purpose. Information should be shared when it creates value, not simply because you feel the need to demonstrate what you know. Many people reveal their knowledge because they want recognition. They want others to see how intelligent they are, but true intelligence does not need constant proof. The person who understands deeply can explain simply, act effectively, and remain calm without seeking validation. Your knowledge should improve your decisions, not your ego. Another powerful aspect of information is preparation against manipulation. People who understand history, psychology, and incentives are less likely to be controlled by appearances. They recognize emotional tactics, misleading arguments, and hidden agendas. Awareness creates freedom because you cannot easily influence someone who understands the mechanisms behind influence. The goal is not to know everything. That is impossible. The goal is to become excellent at learning what matters. Develop curiosity. Question assumptions. Study people. Study systems. Study yourself. The person who transforms knowledge into power does not chase information randomly. They build a mental advantage. They understand that every lesson, every mistake, and every observation can become a tool for better decisions. In a world where everyone has access to information, wisdom becomes the true advantage. The difference is not who can find knowledge. The difference is who can recognize its value, apply it consistently, and use it to create better outcomes. Knowledge is the beginning. Strategy is the transformation. Action is the proof. Section 8. Build unshakable self-discipline. The eighth brutal law is this: the person who cannot control themselves will eventually be controlled by others. Self-discipline is the foundation behind every form of power. Without it, intelligence becomes wasted potential, ambition becomes empty desire, and talent becomes inconsistent performance. Machiavelli understood that before a person can influence the outside world, they must first establish control over their own actions, habits, and decisions. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this community grow and allows us to continue exploring the principles of strategy, personal growth, and human behavior. Many people believe power comes from having more resources more connections, or more opportunities. These things matter, but they are useless without discipline. A person who cannot manage their own time will struggle to manage responsibility. A person who cannot control their impulses will struggle to make rational decisions. A person who constantly abandons their own commitments will eventually lose trust in themselves. Self-discipline begins with a simple understanding. Your actions create your identity. Every choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. When you consistently choose comfort over progress, you train yourself to seek comfort. When you consistently choose responsibility over excuses, you train yourself to become reliable. The strongest people are not those who always feel motivated. Motivation is temporary. It changes with circumstances, emotions, and environment. Discipline is different because it allows action even when motivation disappears. It creates consistency when enthusiasm is gone. This is why disciplined people often appear more successful than naturally talented people. Talent can create an advantage, but discipline multiplies that advantage over time. A talented person who lacks discipline may depend on inspiration. A disciplined person creates results through repetition. Machiavellian thinking requires understanding the importance of reliability. In any environment where people compete for opportunities, trust becomes a form of power. People naturally give responsibility to those who demonstrate control over themselves. A person who is organized, prepared, and consistent becomes valuable because others know they can depend on them. Your reputation is built through repeated behavior. One impressive moment can attract attention, but consistency creates respect. Anyone can perform well once. The challenge is maintaining standards when nobody is watching. Self-discipline also requires controlling your desires. This does not mean rejecting pleasure or becoming emotionless. It means understanding that immediate satisfaction often competes with long-term advantage. The person who always chooses what feels good in the moment may eventually sacrifice what they truly want. Every successful person faces this battle. The choice between convenience and growth, between distraction and focus, between short-term approval and long-term achievement. The difference is not whether the temptation exists. The difference is whether the person has the ability to choose intentionally. A disciplined person protects their attention because attention determines direction. What you repeatedly focus on shapes your thoughts, and your thoughts influence your actions. If your attention is constantly controlled by distractions, your goals become weaker because your energy is divided. This is why strategic people create systems instead of depending only on willpower. They design environments that support their objectives. They remove unnecessary distractions. They create routines that make positive actions easier and negative actions harder. Discipline is not about making life unnecessarily difficult. It is about reducing the number of decisions that weaken you. When important habits become automatic, your mental energy becomes available for bigger challenges. Another aspect of self-discipline is emotional consistency. Many people make decisions based on temporary feelings. They work hard when they feel inspired and stop when they feel discouraged. They treat emotions as instructions instead of information. The disciplined person understands that feelings change, but principles remain. They do not allow one bad day to become one bad month. They do not allow one failure to become a permanent identity. They recover quickly because their commitment is stronger than their temporary emotions. This mindset creates resilience. Resilience is not the absence of difficulty. It is the ability to continue moving despite difficulty. Every person faces setbacks, criticism, uncertainty, and failure. The difference is how they respond. Some people interpret obstacles as evidence that they should stop. Others interpret obstacles as information that helps them adjust. Discipline creates the second mindset because disciplined people understand that progress is rarely a straight line. Self-discipline also changes how others perceive you. A person who controls themselves naturally creates respect. They do not need to demand attention because their behavior communicates confidence. They do not need to constantly explain their goals because their actions demonstrate commitment. The person who lacks discipline often searches for external control. They need pressure from others to perform. They need approval to continue. They need circumstances to be perfect before they act. This creates dependence. The disciplined person creates internal authority. They become someone they can rely on. This is one of the most powerful forms of confidence because it is built on evidence. You trust yourself because you have repeatedly proven that your decisions can survive discomfort. However, discipline should not become obsession. A person who becomes too rigid loses the ability to adapt. Strategic discipline includes flexibility. The goal is not perfection. The goal is control. You adjust when necessary while remaining committed to the larger objective. Machiavelli's deeper lesson is that strength begins internally. Before you attempt to influence people, opportunities, or circumstances, you must master the one thing completely within your control: yourself. A person with discipline does not need perfect conditions. They create progress despite imperfect conditions. They do not wait for confidence before acting. They build confidence through action. They do not depend on temporary emotions. They depend on chosen principles. In a world where many people are controlled by impulses, distractions, and immediate desires, self-discipline becomes a rare advantage. The person who masters themselves becomes difficult to manipulate because they are not easily distracted, easily tempted, or easily defeated. They move with intention because their greatest source of power is no longer outside of them. It is within them. Section 9. Adapt without losing yourself. The ninth brutal law is this: the person who refuses to adapt eventually becomes a victim of circumstances. The world does not reward those who remain attached to one method, one identity, or one way of thinking simply because it feels comfortable. Power belongs to those who can observe change, understand reality, and adjust without losing their core principles. Machiavelli understood that circumstances constantly shift, and the person who survives and grows is the person who can respond intelligently. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this community grow and allows us to continue exploring strategy, discipline, and the principles behind human behavior. Many people misunderstand adaptability. They believe adapting means changing who they are to please others. It does not. True adaptability is not weakness. It is awareness. It is the ability to change your approach while protecting your values, goals, and identity. A tree that cannot bend during a storm eventually breaks. Flexibility is not a sign of weakness. It is a survival mechanism. The same principle applies to people. The person who refuses to learn, adjust, and evolve becomes trapped by their own past decisions. One of the greatest dangers is becoming attached to an outdated version of yourself. Many people defend old beliefs not because those beliefs are still useful, but because changing them would require admitting they were wrong. Ego becomes a prison. It convinces people that consistency means never changing their mind. But intelligence requires the courage to update your perspective. New information should create better decisions, not threaten your identity. A person who learns from reality becomes stronger. A person who protects their ego from reality becomes weaker. Strategic thinkers constantly evaluate their environment. They ask questions such as, what has changed? What assumptions are no longer accurate? What worked before but may fail now? What new opportunity exists because circumstances shifted? These questions prevent stagnation. Machiavellian thinking teaches that circumstances often determine outcomes. A strategy that works in one environment may fail completely in another. The leader who succeeds during stability may struggle during crisis if they cannot change their approach. The person who builds success in one industry may lose everything if they ignore technological or cultural changes. Adaptability requires observation before action. Many people react emotionally to change because they see it as a threat. They defend the familiar instead of examining the opportunity. But every major shift creates both winners and losers. The difference is that some people focus only on what they are losing, while others search for what they can gain. The strategic person does not ask, "Why is the world changing?" They ask, "How can I position myself within this change?" This mindset creates advantage because uncertainty creates opportunities. When others panic, prepared individuals analyze. When others complain, they experiment. When others wait for the old conditions to return, they build for the new reality. However, adaptation requires humility. A person who believes they already know everything becomes unable to grow. They stop listening. They stop learning. They assume past success guarantees future success. History is filled with examples of people and organizations that failed because they became too confident in what worked before. Success can create a dangerous illusion that the current strategy will always remain effective. But the world does not reward past achievements forever. It rewards continued ability. Another important aspect of adaptability is emotional flexibility. Some people become attached not only to ideas, but also to expectations. They create a specific vision of how life should happen, and when reality differs, they suffer unnecessarily. A strategic person prepares for multiple possibilities. They have goals, but they remain flexible about the path. They understand that obstacles do not always mean the destination is wrong. Sometimes they simply indicate that the method needs adjustment. This principle is especially important when dealing with people. Human behavior changes based on circumstances. Someone who acts one way under pressure may act differently when comfortable. Someone who appears confident in one environment may struggle in another. Reading situations requires avoiding fixed assumptions. Do not judge a person only by one moment. Do not judge an opportunity only by its current appearance. Context changes everything. Adaptability also means knowing when to abandon something. Persistence is valuable, but persistence without awareness becomes stubbornness. Some people continue investing time, money, and energy into situations that no longer serve them because they fear accepting loss. The strategic person understands that changing direction is not failure. Sometimes the smartest move is recognizing that the original path no longer creates advantage. This does not mean quitting whenever something becomes difficult. Difficulty is part of growth. The question is whether the challenge is temporary resistance or evidence that a new approach is required. Wisdom comes from knowing the difference. Your identity should be built around principles, not methods. Methods can change. Strategies can evolve. Plans can be replaced. But your commitment to learning, discipline, and improvement should remain constant. A person who adapts while maintaining their foundation becomes extremely difficult to defeat. They are not dependent on one opportunity, one relationship, one skill, or one environment. They carry the ability to rebuild. The final lesson of this law is simple. Never become a prisoner of what once worked. The world moves forward, and those who refuse to move with it eventually lose their position. The strongest people are not those who predict every change. Nobody can do that. They are the ones who develop the ability to respond when change arrives. Adaptability is not abandoning yourself. It is protecting your future by becoming someone capable of facing whatever reality presents. Section 10. Create your own power. The 10th brutal law is this. True power begins when you stop depending entirely on external approval, external validation, and external control. The strongest person is not the one who controls everything around them. It is the person who has developed enough awareness, discipline, and strategy to remain effective regardless of circumstances. Machiavelli understood that power is not only about position. It is about the ability to influence outcomes, protect your interests, and move with confidence in an unpredictable world. Before we finish, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps this community grow and allows us to continue bringing content about strategy, wisdom, and the principles that shape human behavior. Throughout these laws, one principle has appeared repeatedly. Control begins with yourself. Before you can understand others, you must understand your own motives. Before you can influence situations, you must master your own reactions. Before you can build alliances, you must become someone worthy of trust. Before you can create opportunities, you must develop the ability to recognize and use them. Power is not created through appearance alone. It is created through capability. Many people spend their lives searching for shortcuts to influence. They want the respect without the discipline, the results without the preparation, and the authority without the responsibility. But real power cannot be borrowed forever. Eventually, circumstances test whether your foundation is strong enough. A person who depends only on status becomes powerless when the status disappears. A person who depends only on money becomes vulnerable when resources change. A person who depends only on other people's approval becomes controlled by every opinion around them. The strategic person builds internal resources that cannot easily be taken away. Knowledge, discipline, emotional control, adaptability, judgment. These become the foundation of independence. Machiavellian thinking is often associated with controlling others, but the deeper lesson is learning not to be controlled. The person who understands human behavior is not obsessed with manipulating every situation. They simply understand the forces that influence decisions and protect themselves from unnecessary mistakes. The greatest advantage you can develop is awareness. Awareness allows you to see opportunities where others see problems. It allows you to recognize patterns before they become obvious. It allows you to make decisions based on reality instead of illusion. A powerful person does not need to prove their strength constantly. Insecurity creates the need to demonstrate superiority. Real confidence creates patience. The person who knows their value does not need to compete in every conversation, respond to every criticism, or win every disagreement. They understand that not every victory is worth pursuing. One of the greatest signs of maturity is knowing where to place your energy. Your attention is limited. Your time is limited. Your influence is limited. Strategic people do not waste these resources trying to control things outside their reach. They focus on what they can improve, what they can build, and what they can influence. This is why self-mastery is the foundation of power. If your emotions control you, someone else can control your reactions. If distractions control you, someone else can control your attention. If approval controls you, someone else can control your confidence. Freedom begins when you regain authority over yourself. Another important aspect of power is responsibility. Many people want influence because they associate it with privilege, but influence creates consequences. The more decisions you make, the more responsibility you carry. The stronger your position becomes, the more discipline is required to maintain it. Power without wisdom becomes dangerous. Intelligence without character becomes destructive. Strategy without principles becomes unstable. The strongest individuals combine ambition with awareness. They understand the world as it is, while still choosing the kind of person they want to become. Machiavelli studied human nature because he understood that ignoring reality does not protect you from it. Pretending everyone is always honest does not create trust. Pretending competition does not exist does not create peace. Understanding reality allows you to make better choices. But understanding reality does not require losing your humanity. You can recognize ambition without becoming consumed by it. You can understand strategy without becoming dishonest. You can protect yourself without becoming cruel. The goal of these laws is not to create someone feared by everyone. It is to create someone who cannot easily be deceived, pressured, or controlled. The person who applies these principles becomes more thoughtful in relationships, more disciplined in decisions, and more prepared for challenges. They stop moving randomly and begin moving intentionally. They understand that every action communicates something. Every choice builds a reputation. Every habit shapes identity. Every relationship creates influence. Your life is the result of the strategies you repeat. If you guard your intentions, you protect your vision. If you understand motives, you protect your judgment. If you control your emotions, you protect your decisions. If you master patience, you protect your timing. If you understand perception, you protect your reputation. If you choose allies carefully, you protect your environment. If you transform knowledge into action, you protect your future. If you build discipline, you protect your potential. If you adapt, you protect your ability to survive change. These laws are not about becoming someone else. They are about removing the weaknesses that prevent you from becoming who you are capable of becoming. The world will always contain uncertainty, competition, and unexpected challenges. You cannot control every event, every person, or every outcome, but you can control your preparation, your response, and your direction. That is where real power begins. The person who understands themselves becomes harder to manipulate. The person who understands others becomes harder to deceive. The person who understands strategy becomes harder to defeat. The greatest advantage you can create is not making everyone else weaker. It is making yourself stronger, wiser, and more aware every single day. Because in the end, the most powerful person is not the one who controls the world around them. It is the one who has learned to control themselves within it. After studying these 8 brutal laws inspired by Machiavelli, my personal view is that the greatest advantage a person can develop is not the ability to control others, but the ability to control themselves. The world rewards awareness. People who understand human behavior, manage their emotions, protect their goals, and think before acting usually make better decisions. But strategy should never become an excuse to abandon character. Becoming smarter does not mean becoming colder. It means becoming more conscious. I believe Machiavelli's lessons are valuable because they expose realities that many people prefer to ignore. Not everyone has the same intentions. Not every promise is genuine. Not every opportunity is what it appears to be. Learning to observe, analyze, and think strategically allows us to move through life with greater wisdom. At the same time, true strength is not created through fear or manipulation. The strongest person is the one who can understand the game without losing their values. Discipline, patience, emotional control, and self-awareness are the foundations of lasting power. In my opinion, the biggest lesson is simple. Before trying to influence the world, we must first master ourselves. But now I want to hear your opinion. Do you believe Machiavelli's ideas are still useful today? Or do you think they create too much distrust between people? Which law from this video had the biggest impact on your perspective? Share your thoughts in the comments. Different experiences create different perspectives, and your opinion may bring a new insight to this conversation. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment which country you are watching from. Your support helps us continue creating deeper discussions about strategy, psychology, and human behavior.